Hi, everyone. How are we doing? Good. Thank you for putting me on after lunch. Really appreciate that. Um, okay, first things first, I have free gifts. So if anybody would like a journal, I don't know if you're like me, but you collect many, many journals and about 10 or 15 pages get written in, and then they sit, but it's free and they're really cool. So if you like a journal, raise your hand. Cassie will go around and pass out. Thank you to my beautiful, wonderful priestess of a girlfriend who passed out business cards. QR code on there if you want to connect and be in touch. So, I still get my full 30 minutes, right? Yeah, okay, maybe. No big deal. Okay, I see how this is going to go. I would like to have a lot of fun today, and also, I just want it to be like, I've got 30 minutes, and I have a Leo Sun, Aries Moon, Aquarius Rising. That feels like a lot of pressure to try to say the things I would like to say. So, what we're going to do is we're going to all get together and try to be very present. Really, I think Charlie, I don't see them here anymore, but it would have been cool to just go immediately after them because a lot of what she said is going to tie into what I have to say. Before we get going, raise your hand if you are an entrepreneur and own your own business. Just kind of see that, okay? And then raise your hand if you work for a corporation or something else similar to that. Okay, so we're about 50-50. Awesome. So does everybody get a journal? We want to be inclusive, make sure everyone got one. Thank you. You're welcome. Also, a Capricorn wrote that bio. Who likes writing their own bios? It's super weird. It's honestly strange. And then hearing people read your own bio while you're in the room also feels weird. So, what's that? Yeah. And of course, being a Virgo, she cared very much about those 3 minutes. So, you see where we're going with all of this. So, let's start off by just really bringing ourselves into the space. So, I invite you to stand up if that's comfortable for you. And do a little shake out. Shake off lunch, shake off the energy. Is the volume okay on the mic? Feels like it's not on up here. Probably the rest of you felt that way. Okay. Not very loud, but you can hear me. Okay. Shake off the energy, y'all. Shake off where we've been. The nerves. We're going to get uncomfortable. We're all going to become cosmic unicorns for the next 30 minutes. I know, that's weird. My brother sent me that. He's an astrologer, too. He's like, just call them all cosmic unicorns. And I was like, stretch. Stretch. Okay. Go ahead and gently close your eyes. Yeah, stay standing. Some deep breaths here. In through the nose, out through the mouth, if that feels good to you. I know that it is very scary to close our eyes in a public setting. We love sight. We relate a lot of safety to the things we can see. But let's just take some deep breaths, and I invite you to pull back all of your energy from the rest of the day. Pull back your energy from the beautiful conversations you've had. Pull back your energy from the nourishing food you ate. Pull it back into you. If your mind and your body is somewhere else, I invite you to be fully present, thinking of your feet rooted into Pachamama, into Gaia, into the earth below. The brain is like, what do you mean? We're on the 6th floor. Okay? Energy doesn't work that way, y'all. Feel yourself rooted and present in this room. Pull back the energy from what's coming up next. Pull back the energy from the future, from the past, and just get fully present here. And I invite you to try to stay present as we go on a journey today. And I invite you to open up your hearts and your minds to the information that will be coming into your space over the next 26 and a half minutes-ish. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to smile. It's okay to cry. Just observe and feel. Let's take a few cleansing breaths in through the nose And exhale out the mouth. And 2 more. And exhale. Last one, and root. Root into this space, root into this moment. And exhale. I invite you to sit down. Thank you. The anatomy of astrology. I will be the first to tell you that if I was sitting in this summit 8.5 years ago, I'd be like, sure, right? So I invite you, let's go on a journey. No pun, actually a lot of pun intended. Okay? Yes, that is the company I worked for a decade. So come with me on a journey 8 years ago. Alarm goes off, 7 a.m. Wake up, right? Grab the phone, the work phone, because we have 2 phones, not because we're doing things that are illegal, but because we have to keep things separate, right? Leave your life at the door. We have a work phone and a personal phone, because heaven forbid we ever cross those. Look at the work phone. Home office is in Nashville, Tennessee. So, of course, by this point in time, you've got, 20, 25 emails to respond to. Check those emails. Okay, any stores burned down overnight? No? Oh, okay. Anybody quit by 7 o'clock in the morning? No? Okay. Shower. Go in, get into a store. Maybe drive 15 minutes, maybe drive a few hours. I oversaw Utah, Idaho, Montana, and parts of Alaska for part of that. So I had 24 stores and about 150 employees at any given time. And go into a store. What am I walking into? I don't know. What fire are we going to put out today? Somebody needs this. Somebody needs that. You're in a store working with that team, with those managers, but your phone is constantly going off. And people know, oh, she's in Southtown today. So if you don't respond on your cell phone, they just call the store, right? Being the district manager means everybody needs something from you. Work into a store till, 6:37. By the time you put out all the fires, right, you leave exhausted. But yeah, I was drinking that juice, so I wasn't understanding how exhausted I was, I was like, no, this company matters. So funny, because, Charlie was like, the values, those were posted in every store, y'all. Every store had those company values. And by the time you leave the store, you're exhausted. You go, maybe meet up with family or friends for dinner. And in the meantime, no conversation can be happening because I'm staring at one phone or the other, right? I'd be sitting across from somebody I love and care about, and I'm like, And back in the day, I had a BlackBerry, so I was gangster. I could send a whole email, no typos, and stare at you the entire time. Now with iPhones, if you know me, if you've ever tried to text with me, it is a mess. It's an atrocious mess. So, but I wasn't present. I just wasn't there. And then by the time I get home, I've had 150 conversations or what it felt like, and now I just want to numb out. And so I sit in front of the television, watch sports or a show, and I go to bed. Rinse and repeat, right? 6 days, mostly 7 days a week for the better part of 10 years. I know, I heard someone go, right? So if you're feeling this, maybe this isn't your exact life. And then what started to happen was I started to notice in my body first, this doesn't feel good anymore. But I was like, no, you're one of the top 3 DMs in the company. You're going to be a regional vice president. And being a woman and being a lesbian, I had to work way harder for that top 3 position. Luckily, we're a company of performance, and being a prior athlete, that was super motivating. So you can't actually tell me I'm not one of the best because it's on paper. But yet somehow I always got passed up for those positions, right? So I just started looking around. But I was so busy, How many of you are like, I'm too busy? If you feel that way. That's okay, there's no shame. We are not living in shame snuggies today, at least for 30 minutes. We're going to be ourselves. We're going to be our authentic selves. That's okay. I was too busy to even recognize what was happening to me. But I was totally being conditioned and turned into a robot, and I had thoughts, and I had feelings, and I had opinions, and I was realizing that there wasn't really a place for that. And my soul started to call to me. I was like, but wait, I have a salary. I make bonus. I have a company car and a company credit card. This is stability. And I have health insurance and a 401k. I was crushing it, right? No, I wasn't. I was dying, actually, inside. And I didn't understand that. So, 8 years ago. Now we flash forward, right? Look at these funny pictures. Okay, also, like, I just love this. They would give out, like, medals at the company party. And, like, like Olympic medals, that was them. But, like, I really was drinking that juice, y'all. It was, like, so competitive. I loved it. And I always had way more. There was one dude in Austin, Texas, Casey. Of course, I still remember his name. But he was, like, the only guy that even came close. The year I quit, the year I put in my notice, I won 9. The next closest guy was a dude out of Puerto Rico with 3. Like, the year I quit, I still smashed. Thank you. Thank you for that. Leo son needed that applause. Okay? This year's so funny. I don't know, y'all. Okay. Anyway, we're getting ahead of ourselves. So here we are now. 8.5 years later, 8 years later, I'm standing on a stage talking to fellow entrepreneurs and business owners about using astrology to improve your business, right? What a crock of... Thank you. I had to go up to Tracy before, and I was like, can I swear? Yeah. No, that worked out great. Team together, Tracy. Yeah, y'all, and I invite you to be open. Because, again, 8 years ago, I wouldn't have been. This beautiful gentleman, I don't know your name. I don't even think. Don? Todd. Yeah. I've been sick. I can't really hear anything. I'm, like, under an ocean up here. So, Todd, thank you for that. Now I lost my train of thought. I don't know what I was saying. Anyway, moving on. So 8 years later, it's weird to be in this position because I'm like, I used to sit out there and I drank the juice and I was like, miracle morning. And that doesn't mean that doesn't work. But if you are in this room, there's probably a part of you that's like, what is this all about? Why am I going to come listen to astrology? If you're on any social media platform, you've probably heard it, right? I need to talk to a white girl with a nose ring and tell me what planet is making me sad, right? Well, then it's like Earth, yeah? Or right now, it's the eclipse. We're in the middle of eclipse season. Is everyone okay? I am not okay, right? This is how it feels until October 2nd. So coming here, so I just think it's important to think about maybe opening ourselves up to doing things differently. How can astrology help you? Well, there's many, many ways. And it can help you individually, and it can also help you in running a business, and it can help you in any type of relationship that you have, which is either with yourself, your business, or others. And the whole reason I go into this whole journeys thing, y'all, is because for whatever reason, our conditioning still tells us that people have to have some level of, like, professionalism to be heard, okay? So I do that. And I'm not saying that that's y'all, but I just think our brains like that. Just like when I play sound healing, people are like, if the bowls don't play loud enough, they're like, it didn't work, but it does. So let's talk about astrology. We have Virgos and Caps in the room. Where are we at? Some Taurus. Hey, what up? Okay. So for some of these signs, I just want to put some facts on the board. Can you guys read that? Yeah, not very well either. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, we just take that as a sign to move on. What we're going to say is pretty much every United States president has had a personal astrologer. Raise your hand if you have a personal astrologer in your life. You do? Who? What? Tell me all about this. Yeah. Amazing. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. So powerful. And what is your name, sir? What is it? See, you guys, I literally can't hear. Alex, what's your sun? Your sun sign, yeah. No, your actual sun sign. Sorry. SUN. Oh, I love my Geminis. You guys are amazing. And of course, you're the one that spoke up in the conference. Are you Gemini? Cute. Another Gemini. Yeah. And look at them. They're like, hey, in the house. I love it. Thank you for that because it is powerful, right? And my job is not to get up here and try to convince you all to believe in astrology, but also I invite you to have a different way, right? Being able to use it to map your life. So the funny thing about this is a study showed that 51% of Americans believe that astrology is not real, and 22% are unsure of its believability, okay? Yeah, that's okay. No shame, Snuggies. Who thinks this is a crock of shit? Oh, my God. That's fun. Awesome. If you take nothing from today. Astrology is not a belief system, y'all. It is a language. So somebody said something earlier about somebody being bilingual, right? Powerful. How many of you hire people? How many are in a position to hire people? Raise your hand. Does that benefit you if they are bilingual? Okay? So astrology is a language that has been around for thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And it hasn't gone away, right? So it's not a belief system, not here to convert you. I know we're in Utah, but that is not what's happening, okay? It is just a language, y'all. And the more you can learn the language, the better tool it is for your life. And it will blow your mind if you give it an opportunity to. Okay. So for those naysayers, none of you in here, but how many of you have ever said, oh my gosh, astrology is cool, or it's real, and somebody's like, no, it's not real. It's not real. Yeah? Cool, I got something for you. How many people believe that there is a moon? Anybody? Okay, a few of you think there's a moon in the sky. That's a great start, okay? Okay, there's a moon in the sky, and does anybody know if the moon affects the tides? Yes? Can we all agree on that? Beautiful. What are the tides made of? Water. Smartest group in Utah. And what are humans made of? Water. Minimum 70. Spiritualists and energy healers, we would probably go to 90, right? 90%, 70%. So let's just go low, 70% water. So if the moon affects the tides, and the tides are made of water, does the moon affect us? If we're made of water, yes. But just that, right? Only the moon in the sky affects us. Does that make sense? Does it make sense to me? So for those people who are like, it's not real, just tell them that. Just ask them, is the moon real? Affect the tides. Tides are water. We're water. If it's up there affecting us, so is everything else. Who's heard of Mercury retrograde? Right? Who's like, I love when that happens because every horrendous choice I make, I can blame on something else. Me. Right? That's the best. So I asked if you had a personal astrologer. Of course, my girlfriend. I've had the privilege of reading Emily Potts' chart. Emily, your voice is a sound voice in this community. How was that experience? Cool. Thank you for that, babe. Venmo her after. But in all seriousness, y'all, that's what happened for me, okay? I quit my job at Journeys, and I really didn't have a plan. A few of you I've talked to about quitting your jobs and maybe not having plans, right? That's okay. 6 months later, my brother, who happens to also be an astrologer, we got on the phone, and he kind of started reading my birth chart officially for the first time. I'd heard astrology. I'm a lesbian. Of course I heard about astrology, right? They'd be like, you're a Leo? And I'm like, I'm a Leo. And they're like, of course you are. And I'm like, what does that mean? And I would feel offended because they do that. And now I'm that person offending everyone, right? Like I was being like, does anyone know when Liz's birthday is, by the way? It's coming up. Cassie, what did I call? I turned to Cassie in our meeting, and I was like, oh, my God, she's a Libra. She's for sure a Libra. And I was like, Cassie, when's her birthday? And she's like, I think it was in the summer. And I was like, okay, maybe Cancer, but I really thought Libra. So Liz is a Libra. Thank you. I've been thinking about that for hours. Wherever Liz is, everybody. But I mean, like, think about, like, so most of us know Liz, and here she is, like, this very balanced, equal, right, person. She brings harmony into a space. That's what Libras do, right? So, having your own personal astrology is really powerful. I had that reading, and what it helped me to understand and start looking at was all of the layers of conditioning. I worked in corporate America for a very long time. I worked with mostly, hoity-toity. Like, I just loved to be in sales because I loved to be number one, and I loved to beat the dudes that I was going against. That was a huge part of why I like to work in that space. And then I was like, okay, but this isn't fulfilling to me, right? This isn't fulfilling. So I invite you to think about, like, where are you? Where is your soul? And we talked about that earlier. And when we live in such a day and age, it's like you have to go to work and you have to be this version of yourself. And then you go home and you're this version of yourself. But is there a space in between to mix in between? Learning your own personal astrology helps you to be a better human. And the more that we understand ourselves without the conditioning and the imprint and the influence of the people, spaces, religions, states that we live in, the more likely we are to live a life of authenticity and understanding that. And I think we all are like, yeah, we know who we are, especially those in the queer community. We've spent a long time trying to figure out who we are and being true to ourselves, right? But if you want like a little bit of a, faster track, hit me up for an astrology reading. And as she said earlier, when she was like, that was surprising to her, I am up here, y'all, not because I pay my mortgage off astrology readings. I would love that. Someday we'll get there. Not today. I pay my mortgage because I'm a realtor, and I sell and help people buy and sell homes. But I'm here because this is what I'm passionate about, and I know how much it can impact your life and your business. So as said before, humans have been using astrology as a map and to navigate for thousands and thousands of years, right? Stars, moon, all of that. So how do we use astrology as a map in your own personal business and in your own relationship? As Emily stated before, she said it helped me to be a better mom, a better business partner, a better wife, right? Understanding that gives us an opportunity to go back to our soul's essence. The minute you took your first breath on this planet, what was the energetics of the sky? What was the energetics of the cosmos? And how is that impacting you? Not everyone is meant to be on a stage. Raise your hand if this is the last place you'd ever want to be. Okay? A few of you in here. And that's okay, because we're not all built the same, right? For a Leo, okay, Charlie's a Leo. What's your sun sign? I love that you just said Gemini too. Cancer, Gemini, cusp. Pisces? Okay, cool. I wasn't here for those, so I wanted to know. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So it's not necessarily meant for everyone, right? And again, we're given this blueprint of this is how, if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, this is how you do it. If you want to be a successful business owner, this is how you do it. But the reality is we're all very unique, and that's not going to work for all of us. Okay? Number 2, using astrology as a map to run your business. How many of you have employees under you that work under you? Cool. I say time and time again, man, if I could go back, and I did a lot of hiring in my life, I would get rid of every resume ever created and be like, give me your birth time. There's that other funny meme, too, that it's like, oh, when your child texts you and says, hey, Mom, what was my time of birth? And the mom's like, don't date her or something, But I invite you as business owners, right? Figure out. Because, again, I had this. It's funny because I didn't know this at the time. One of my top managers, she worked for me in New Mexico. When I got transferred back to Utah, she followed me, right? And one of my best top right-hand people. And we would sit down for those ridiculous quarterly manager and district manager meetings. And she would not even get to the seat, and she would be bawling her eyeballs out. And I'm just like, we haven't even spoke. Like, you're doing great. But she was a double Pisces. She might have even been a triple Pisces, right? So all this beautiful, flowy water and emotions. And looking back, I'm like, man, had I known that, right, with my Leo sun and my Aries moon and my Aquarius rising very direct, not that I'm going to change how I am, but I would understand that in order for her to receive better, I have to be really gentle, like water, and flow, right? So I could have managed her better. I could have been a better boss to her had I known, right? So that's another thing, is being able to use astrology for understanding others. So even if you're like, I don't have employees, I don't do that, but I want to understand myself better, to have better relationships with the people around me, it's a huge tool, because everything in life is a relationship. Here's the other cool thing. People are like, astrology is not real because I'm an Aries sun and I met an other Aries sun and that person sucks and I'm awesome. So it's not real. Well, look at these two charts. These are just snapshots of the sky, y'all, when somebody was born. We don't have their names and stuff, but both of them, believe it or not, are an Aries sun. So if you look at that, if that's a clock, go to about 8:45 p.m., you see where the sun is. And over here, what would that be? 10:30 p.m. Both Aries suns, but just from a visual standpoint, do those two charts look exactly the same? No, because we are more than just where the sun was when we were born. And both of those suns occupy a different space and a different place in the sky. So even though they're both Aries sun and they might have this similar archetype, there's still going to be other influences, right? Still going to be other influences. Last but not least, using astrology as a map to improve your actual business too. She talked on it earlier too. Charlie talked about the cycles and seasons. So right now we're in eclipse season. How many of you know we're in the middle of eclipse season? Okay, yeah, there we go. There's energy, folks. What up? Things are chaotic in our eclipse season. I invite people to not make major life decisions in an eclipse season. Doesn't matter. Doesn't mean it's not wrong. You are always your own North Star. This is a tool. This is not a forever thing. But I invite you to, because the eclipse season magnifies everything, but it also magnifies the good, right? Mercury retrograde has such a bad rap, right? Everybody laughed and was like, we've heard about it, right? Like, don't do anything, you know? But here's how I see retrogrades. We're just driving in reverse. And retrograde provides a time for us to actually slow down. So retrogrades are not necessarily the times in business to launch something. They are actually a time to reflect and to review and to go back to things that haven't worked before and bring them back to the forefront and review them and see if it's something you still want in play, right? Also, January 1st, January in general, time to like get out there, crush our goals, do our vision boards, right? Corporate America, we were like, have your manager meeting in January. I'm like, that makes no sense in the Northern Hemisphere because everything is dead outside. We're going to take all this action. We're going to bring life back into the stores in the dead of winter, right? If we follow the calendar of astrology, the beginning of the year is spring equinox, when life comes back into the season, life comes back into the world. That is the time to do your vision boards, to do your business planning, to launch something new. So once you understand astrology, you start to go in the flow and ease of cycles of the cosmos and understanding how things work. And the biggest part I can tell y'all is this. If you feel like you're doing the same thing and you're following the business plan and you hired that business coach for $25,000 a year, one thing I'll tell you right now, never hire a business coach if they do not show you their personal bank account. Okay? That's like just whatever. That's my high horse. Make them show it before you hire them. Okay, off. Anyway, cycles and seasons, understanding that if you know those flows, we are not meant to be here and perform here all the time. There's a season of rest, a season of doing, right? A season of launching new products, a season of reviewing. And everything comes in a cycle. We're going to kind of skip through that. I touched on that. Oh, yeah, moon cycles, right? New moon, start, full moon, release. Now, that could be different for you. Some of you are like, that doesn't work for me, and that's okay. But in general, that's what you'll see. So I invite y'all to think of a different way of doing things. I've sat in corporate trainings with Disney and In and Out and how to get things done, and I've drank that juice. And I can assure you I have more time, more space, and a lot more presence in my life, and I don't follow any of that. Any of that. Now I sync myself with the cycles and the seasons of the cosmos. I understand how I personally operate. I know my moon, right? I know my Mercury. I know that I'm of Mercury in Virgo, which means when I talk, I'm very detailed. And sometimes that can be overwhelming. I understand these things. That doesn't mean I change, but it's me getting really, really close and really clear on what is my soul's essence. And if I know who I am, and I get the truest version of myself, then I show up the way that works for me. I come on a stage, I take my shoes off, right? I pull out my dope tattoos that hurt like hell because this grounds me. And that works for me. So be curious. And if you are, scan the QR code. May or may not work, honestly, I don't know. My assistant, who's a Capricorn, was freaking out last night because she's like, I don't know. I do one-on-one birth chart readings. I do intuitive business coaching, right? We're going to talk about getting in sync with those cycles and seasons. I offer group sessions. Yeah. Yeah, worked. Hi, I'm Kambria. Yay. I would love to come to your place of work. I would love to do a group session and, go into each astrology chart of you and your employees. I would be happy to do a one-on-one chart. But at the end of the day, y'all, I'm very passionate about all of us living from a super congruent, authentic space and being ourselves. And anybody who's attending this conference knows the power in being true to who we are. And it's okay to be different. If anything, the world is full of way too many robots. And the sooner we get to just being in our true essence, the more money we'll make, the more abundant we will feel, and the better quality of life we're going to have. So, I think that's it. Babe, is there anything else? I think that's it. And my time is up. And thank you and goodbye.